Hey guys, Tisha here, and we are back with another Basketball Wives review. We begin this episode seeing Neek at home cooking with her mother. She talks about how her mother is her best friend and how close they are, and how because of everything that's going on right now with Dwayne and with her friendship with Mulan, she just really needs someone there that she can kind of just talk to and vent to without having to worry about it turning into something else. She says that in Orlando, she really doesn't have any friends, and her mother points out, like, what about Mulan? And Neek says that she doesn't really know how to take Mulan right now because she's been hearing things about Mulan. It's a lot of he said, she said, but she does believe that Mulan might have been talking about her. She says she's trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, but she's contacting Mulan, and Mulan is not really responding, and it makes it kind of hard for her with Mulan not responding or reaching out. I do believe that Mulan should have reached out to Neek, especially because she was the one who was accused of saying things about Neek. Neek's mother tells her that, Mulan may not know how to be a good friend, and maybe this is a discussion that you should have with her privately. Like, talk to her and tell her how you feel. We then hear that even though Dwayne is there, she feels alone because Dwayne's family is from there, so he's been spending a lot of time with his family, as well as the fact that his brother was murdered. So of course he's mourning, and he's going to want to spend even more time with his family. She says she's just trying to be there for him, as well as process that, everything that went on. And her mother says, I understand all that. I'm glad you're being there for him. But at the end of the day, I need you to take a step back and do whatever it is that you need to do for you to feel like you. And she's right. I think part of the thing that a lot of people aren't realizing is Neek does not live in Florida, nor does her boyfriend. Neek lives in Texas, in Houston, I believe. So this is a big adjustment for her because everything that she knows and is comfortable with is in another state. She clearly came here for filming. We then have Megan, who meets up with Nikki to discuss for being at her event. This scene fell really flat with me because it seemed like Nikki was so bothered last episode, but it kind of went flat and she didn't have the energy that she seemed to have previously. Nikki says that she needs to clear things with Megan because after the show, she cleared the air with Ford. We see them hugging. They're obviously good. Nikki comes, sits down, congratulates Megan on her first live podcast. We hear about how nervous Megan was, and they talk. Nikki lets Megan know that she felt like she was being messy by not telling her that Ford was going to be there. Megan apologizes and said it was not her intent to be messy. She's like, I may be messy, but I'm honest, and it wasn't my intentions to embarrass you. Nikki accepts it. But to me, Megan is messy, and even though she says she's not certain things, she is some of those things. I like Megan in previous things, but Megan to me does come across as a little fake sometimes. We find out that someone told Megan the things that Ashley was saying. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Lindsay, because all of a sudden Lindsay and Megan are really close now, even though Megan didn't see it for her in the beginning. So she wants to eventually talk to Ashley about why she even came to the event. Later, we see Megan meet up with her man, Dre, to talk about what happened with her mom. She tells him that it didn't go good, that at one point she got upset and she cried. Her mom was rude to her and all these other things, and she doesn't feel like they need to work it out. and he isn't hearing her. He's talking about how she needs to do this and she needs to do that, but he's not listening to her or worried about her needs. She was like, look, if you can't accept the fact that my mother and I are not going to be, great, that she's not going to be at the wedding and all these other things, then you just need to leave me alone. He says, I'm dating you, not your mom. Okay, if you really feel that way, then why is this even a thing? I don't like that he keeps pushing this whole she needs to make up with her mother thing, because it's obvious that their issues are deeper than anybody realizes. And right now it's not going to be good. That's something that they need to do with the therapist involved. We then have Morgan. We see her at her new Airbnb. Her little sister comes to see her because Morgan says she needs some support. Morgan talks about how she got served for a reduction of the child support, and with everything that's going on, she's tired. She's tired of fighting. She's tired of the father's absence. She's tired of how it's affected her children. She said that he's abandoned them and he doesn't seem to want to be a part of their lives. There is nothing that is harder than seeing the person that you once loved and you thought you were building this family with neglect the children that he had with you, just to then go and create a new family and do all the things with that family that he was supposed to do with you. Morgan says that she hates him. I feel like Morgan is just really hurt by him. I don't know. Me personally, I can have whatever feelings I have in regards to an ex. But if I share a child with that ex, I feel like that kind of changes the dynamic of things. I will never sit here and say that I hate my son's father. Even though things didn't work out with us, my son is a part of him. And I think that hate is a strong word. I think she's just really, really hurt and she doesn't know how to handle it. She admits that she's in a dark place, and we hear about how she previously tried to commit suicide before, but how God saved her for a bigger reason, which she feels is her children. Her sister wants her to be open and to reach out and to call her when she feels herself getting into this dark space, because she never wants to hear that or see that she went through anything like this again. We later see that Morgan and her sister go and get a tattoo at Black Ink. I guess it's Orlando or Florida. I don't know what it's called. They get a matching tattoo in red. It's their promise to each other to be accountable and make sure that they're there for one another. It's a symbol that has to do with a mantra that you use at the beginning and the end of meditation, and they're happy about it. We then see Lindsay, who we barely see as a main character, but we see her at the Sugar Shack planning her gender reveal. She meets up with Megan and Nikki, and they're going to be using the Ferris wheel to reveal it. Megan lets us know that her clock is ticking and she wants a baby before 45. Kind of pointless scene, but we come back to later see the gender reveal, and a lot of Lindsay's family is there, along with her husband and his family, and a lot of the ladies. I think the only people that weren't there, I think, were Danielle Mulan and Ashley, I think. She does look very large to be finding out about the gender of this baby. Like, I think it should have been something that was done earlier, but she points out the fact that she had to push it back because he still was overseas and she wanted to make sure that he was there for that. We see the reveal, and it's a girl, and her and her husband, as well as the family, seem very happy. We then have Ashley. Ashley is with her husband meeting with a coach for their first annual basketball camp for the kids on the spectrum. As of now, she has volunteers, and she's going to get staff that know how to work with the children who may have some sensory issues. We see them do different drills and hear about the purpose of the foundation. This camp is a good idea, but as I said in previous episodes, I kind of struggle sometimes with receiving things from Ashley because I don't know if she's completely showing us this for the right reasons. I'm not saying that she does not want to be an advocate for people who are on the spectrum, but I just feel like she keeps telling us about her husband and her son, and we get it. She later meets up with Danny to ask her to coach for the camp. Um, She tells Danny again about the purpose of the camp and how her husband and her kid are on the spectrum. And no matter what she's going to do, as I said, we're going to hear about this. Danny brings up how, she's close to Morgan, and Morgan and Ashley have their issues, but that this is bigger than all of that, that her son, when he was younger, had developmental issues. So she understands some of what Ashley is going through, and she's more than willing to do it for the children. They shake on the fact that there will be no drama. We then see the day of the event. Mackenzie is there. She lets us know that even though Daniel is coming, she's not going to say she's happy to see her, but she is happy that she's there to help with the event. Who cares? Mackenzie sounds so dumb when she talks about her sometimes. We see some of the kids. It was not as many as I thought it was going to be for the amount of staff that she was talking about having, but it works out. We find out that we see Mulan walk in. She says Nick has been reaching out to her, but she's been avoiding her. Mulan, to me, is not a good friend. She said, however, she is there for the basketball event because this is a good cause. Mulan is a coach and Mackenzie is a staff. Every time somebody arrives, Ashley needs to debrief them and give them a pep talk about how if there's a problem to come to her. And I just want Ashley to let it go. These women have done many things, but I don't think they would sit there and get to fighting in front of the kids. They obviously can sometimes show self-control. Danielle and Tony talk trash about, what prospective schools and stuff that they went to. There's a mutual respect there. The event goes well. Nice to see. That's the end of that. We then have Mulan and Nick, who finally meet up. She wants to know how everything's been going with Mulan. Mulan responds, and then Nick gets straight to the point. Nick says that she has been hearing about the fact that Mulan has been talking about her, and hearing it from multiple people has made her feel like there may be some truth to it, and it's hurt her feelings. Mulan claims that there's lies and that it's just people being jealous. But my question is, where did they get this information from? There's no way that they got that information out without you revealing it. Even if you were doing it in a casual manner, you did tell some of her business. Nick says, in the future, when it comes to me and my family, please don't discuss my business with anybody. Mulan starts crying, saying she's young and she's tired of defending herself, that it's not what they're saying it was. She hasn't done anything. Nick says, it's okay. We'll get past it. We'll get through it. I love you. She's wiping her tears. And the way Nick handled this whole thing, it's clear that Nick, number one, loves Mulan. And number two, that she really isn't into the drama, because that would have been drug out for a lot longer had it have been someone else. I do think that Nick needs to keep her eye on Mulan, though. We then have Danielle, who looks very sad, coming out of a meeting with her attorney where she was supposed to be just discussing finances with her ex as to how he was going to be paying for things. And what then happened was, rather than discussing finances, it turned into a thing where he tried to bring up all the instances where he felt disrespected by her, saying that she was harassing him, sending emails and text messages and all those things, to the point where he is trying to basically make a case where he could get a restraining order. And if he does succeed in getting a restraining order, then she could possibly lose her children until they work all of that stuff out in the courts. Danny may be many of things, but I don't think it's right for him to do that, because he encourages some of this behavior, because he was still sleeping with Danny. You don't like what she's doing, but you kind of encouraged it, and you've had conversations with her on the phone and all these other things. So he very much so is poking at Danny through the only means that he can be the most successful, which is her children. Danny points out how going through this, she really needed a friend that could kind of relate to this, and that friend would have been Morgan. But Morgan has not been responding to her texts. We see a whole bunch of messages that she sent Morgan with no response. She said that it's been over a week of her trying to reach out, and it's been several days since she's heard from her. She says at the end that clearly homies ain't homies. I do think that Morgan is being a little messed up in this instance because Danielle had her back in a lot of these other situations, and a lot of stuff that Danielle got into, she may have not gotten into if she wasn't buddy with Morgan. And in this instance, she needs her friend, and her friend isn't there. You guys, let me know your thoughts down below. If there's anything that I skipped that you would like to discuss, put it in the comment section and I will address it. Please like the video if you haven't, subscribe if you haven't done that as well. Until next time.